Okay, so communicating with animals. Now, if you've ever had a pet, you find a natural unconscious ability to love the pet, interact with it, take care of it, feed it, and through that interaction you get to know the animal you're with, and that knowing gets an unconscious transmission of how your cat or your dog or whatever the pet is, how it interacts with your energy, what it's thinking, what it's feeling, what it wants to do, what its patterns are, what its behaviors are. There's a type of predictability that forms. Now let's say you want to get this type of communication without getting to know the animal first. We're going to use the principle of mental transference and psychometry. So with psychometry, you put your mind inside the animal. If you can touch the animal, it's better. So it might be you're at a friend's house and they've got a cat and you pet the cat. Now the moment you touch, put your mind inside what you're touching, the feeling and the mind of the animal. And then the speed at which you can let go of yourself, let your mind reflect within the mind of the cat, within the feeling of the cat, within the body of the cat, you're going to get a reaction. You're going to get a perception. Your mind is going to have very specific thoughts. It's going to have very specific feelings, and that reaction that you get from the animal, what I want you to do is just write it down, journal it afterwards. You mentally note it while it's happening, and there might be an injury. A paw might have been injured, and the moment you touch it, you feel pain in the paw of the animal. Or maybe it's a little bit thirsty or hungry, and you feel that thirst and hunger. You mentally note it, and then you write it down. What you're going to find is, as you develop this skill of mentally noting what you're sensing and writing it down, this expanded space of consciousness. And if you've been doing some vital breathing and you vital breathe before you do it, you'll get an amplified effect with this exercise. You're going to find that the journaling process and the state of mind you're in when you receive the information builds like a catalog, like a menu of intuitive bits of information. Each time you do that, anything that you've sensed in the past becomes more easily accessible. After you've got 100 bits of data journaled, you touch an animal, anything that you've had past resonance with will arise in your consciousness more quickly if that animal is in that state. It's a bit like a doctor who fills out a client card for every patient that walks in the door, and then another patient walks in and they have a sense of what the problem is before the patient's even told the doctor. Their unconscious is already aware of it, and the doorway between the unconscious and the conscious, if it's open, they're sensitive to that, they'll already know the problem, and then they do their tests to verify the problem, independent of the person even having talked about it. So you'll start to get this with animals. Now let's say you can't touch the animal, it's a bird up in the tree, you hear the bird, now you mentally transfer to the bird. You look at it and you put your mind inside the bird. And as soon as you put your mind there, you'll get a sense of what the bird is saying. There's a personality that is inside of the sound the bird's making. It's expressing a feeling. And that feeling, just keep yourself open so that you can let that feeling reflect through you, so you can know how that bird is feeling, what it's trying to communicate. It may be saying hello. It may be saying I'm happy. If it got up and flew away, it may be saying, oh, there's danger around, and it's projecting that to the other birds. Whatever it is, just keep an openness in your mental space as you project into the bird, an openness in your astral space, and let that information reflect. Then again, write it down. Once you've journaled this process, you'll start getting a high level of sensitivity to a broader spectrum of thoughts, feelings, emotions, physical states, and so forth. And this mental transference leading to psychometry skills, if you want to develop this further, go through the initiation text. Initiation to Hermetics by Franz Barden. Go to the practice session, don't worry about the theory too much. just start practicing the exercises. As you practice those exercises, the mind will be more refined and more fine-tuned, be less static there, so the impressions will be stronger and your psychometry skills will develop. And it's basically a straightforward process of 10 steps: mental training, astral training, physical training. Go through the process, generate the equanimity so that your mind is able to reflect on anything it wants and see it clearly. And this is a big part of what the initiation of Hermetics training gives you. Okay, we'll leave it there and have a wonderful day.